Hello, hardworking students. This is Lesson 6 in Seow's Grammar for Biblical Hebrew. Lesson 6 beginning on page 54. Lesson 6. In this lesson we are going to learn a bunch of important and elemental things, like how to say the word the and in Hebrew. Very nice. And so it's kind of a grab bag of a bunch of little things, and we'll walk through it in our usual way. Basically, before we even start any of this, I'll just say a few things. In Hebrew, the definite article, or the word for what in English I guess is the, doesn't appear as a separate word. Okay, it is attached at the front, that is at the right side of the word to which it belongs. Okay, so in English, we say the book. In Hebrew, the words, if we were writing English with the Hebrew way, we would just attach the word the to the word book. So the book would look like one big word together. The indefinite article, or an, as you've already no doubt noticed, can just be implied with a standalone noun in Hebrew itself. So a word like bayit, house, could be house, or just the idea, a house. Okay. Torah, law, first 5 books, a law, or a Torah. I guess it would be kind of awkward for the formal Torah. We add ha to that word, though, ha Torah, and now we have the Torah. Add a the in front of that, which is the word for and, the ha Torah, and now we have and the Torah. The word for and, works the same way. So the words for the and in Hebrew are not actually separate words, in the sense that they are separated from other words by a space. They come attached to the front of the words to which they belong. So, page 54, the definite article. So Seow basically says what I just said. The definite article does not appear in an independent form. So look at 1a here. Melech, a king. Ha-Melech, the king. Bayit, a house. Ha-Bayit, the house. You get it? Melech can mean a king or a king. Notice one thing that happens when you add this ha on the front of a word. You also have to add a dagesh to the first letter of the word to which you're attaching the ha. Why? Because actually, the definite article, ha, is not just ha, but it's ha plus doubling. Ha plus doubling. Ha plus strong dagesh. So that's no problem when you're dealing with melachim, with kings. Melech, ha-Melech. See that dagesh in the ha-Melech there in the mem? 1a. Bayit, ha-Bayit. Now it turns out that bayit there already had a dagesh in the bet. Why did the bet already have a dagesh in bayit? Little quiz for you here. Because it's a begag kafat letter. Remember that whole thing? When a begag kafat letter begins a word, starts a word, it takes a dagesh, meaning it has the hard pronunciation. Ba instead of the. Okay, B instead of V. Okay. So habayit, bayit, habayit. No, you don't put two dageshes inside of a word. You just get it like it is. However, you might be wondering, 1b, what happens when you get a guttural or a resh, because you can't put a dagesh there? You get, as you should now expect, compensatory lengthening or virtual doubling. See those examples? Ish, ha-ish. So it's not ha, which is to say hey plus patak. It's ha plus hey plus komets. Lengthening, got it? Or virtual doubling before he and chet. So you get compensatory lengthening before resh, ayin, and aleph, virtual doubling before he and chet. So read those examples, read them out loud, treasure them. Sometimes you also get some other things like down in 1b3 down there at the bottom of the page. If the word already starts with a letter and comments, I should say a guttural and comments, you then get hey as the definite article. And a few words, page 55, just look a little different, period. He gives a list there. I mean, read lists like this. Again, when you write out your flashcards for vocab, if you can incorporate a couple of these things into those flashcards and say them out loud when you say the word, like when you say the word eretz, you might, besides saying the plural and all that stuff, artsoth and so on, you might also want to say, put it with the definite article, ha'aretz, okay, so that you remember those changes. Okay, see if some other words there. Is another common one. People, ha'am. 2 kametzes there. You see that? Okay, so another thing we get are prepositions in Hebrew. Words for to, for, by, like, as, with. Those are prepositions. Those 2 are appended to the front of a word. See how this works? Ir, city, a city. Be'ir, in a city. David, David. Ke-David, like David. And so on. If you get a noun with a definite article, the preposition goes in place of the definite article and takes the vowel of the definite article. So top of page 56, look at this complicated little bad boy. You want to put a le in front of hamelech to say to or for the king. What do you get? Hamelech plus le, you get lamelech. See how that worked? Ha-ish plus le, you want to say for a man, or for the man, or to the man. It goes to la-ish. So you don't say le ha-ish like that. Too awkward. You just say la-ish. And that ah vowel, this is why it's starting to get a little tricky with this vowel stuff. Now when you see that a vowel, that ah beneath the preposition, la-melech, la-ish, ba-hekal. See that? Now you know that in fact there is the definite article in there too. Otherwise it would just be le-melech, for a king, le-ish, for a man, whatever. So now it's like, wait a minute, now we've got like consonants and whole like words that are disappearing and indicated only by vowels. Yes, that's what we have. That's right. So review this, okay? You might have to go back and just listen to this again and read this carefully, okay? Rule of Shiva. We've gone over some of this already, I think. Page 56. A sequence of 2 vocal Shivas is not permitted. Thus, if 2 vocal Shivas come together, certain vowel changes take place. Read over these. I don't want you to go crazy about this. Say a word like gavul, territory. If you put a preposition in front of that, you would have be-gavul, in a territory, right? But you can't have 2 vocal Shivas in a row. So instead, the first one's going to go to I. Big-vul. Big-vul. So there, the preposition isn't just be, now it's be, but it's because of the rule of Shiva. Same thing for melachim, kings. You want to say, among the kings, you want to add a be preposition there, which be can mean in or among, and so on. That's the other thing about these prepositions, they don't just mean one word, it's a range. Be plus melachim would be be melachim, but wait, rule of Shiva can't do it, so it's going to be bimlachim. Okay. He gives some other rules there below. A common one of these is with the word for Judah, Yehudah. You want to put be in front of Yehudah, like in Judah, which is a common word. It would be Bihudah, but if the second Shiva stands under a yod in particular, the first one becomes an I, and the Shiva disappears under a yod, and now it becomes Bihudah in Judah. I realize that one sounds a little bit tricksy, but just if you memorize it as Bihudah means in Judah, that will take you far. Okay. Some other prepositions, page 57. You can read about a few of these. Achar means after. Lifnei means before. Tachat, under. Neged, in front of. These are things to memorize, like other vocab. Okay. We also get an important preposition, the word min, meaning from, because of, or some of. And it can appear in various ways. Look at the middle of page 57, 5a. You can link it to the next word by a little dash, which in Hebrew we're going to call a makef. Min haaretz. Do you see how it's linked together? By the way, when you get a makef in a Hebrew word like that, or a Hebrew phrase connecting 2 words, it means that whole string is pronounced as one word, min haaretz, for the purpose of accentuation. So you see that the accent is above the aleph in aretz, and so you wouldn't say min haaretz, it's just min haaretz. It's one word. Got that? Okay. And you get some other things that happen. Like, for example, sometimes that min is just assimilated right into the word, in which case we have our little n problem. Remember how n's, the letter nun in Hebrew, will sometimes assimilate into the following letter if it's followed by a strong consonant. So if you wanted to put it as part, so you could say min ha'aretz. The example he gives here in 5b1, if you wanted to just, the other way you can do min is just attaching it like ha or ve right onto the word. So it'd be min melik, I guess, but then that n actually goes into the m, so it's mimelik, from a king. From a king. And do you see how the n has disappeared and become a dagesh in that second mem? Meaning that the mem is doubled, so you actually have 3 mems in a row there for consonants, but one of them was originally an n, but instead of saying min melik, min melik, min melik, min melik, min melik, min melik, it just kind of, it gets assimilated. Okay? You've got some other examples there before gutturals. Min ear, no, it's me ear. Okay, and then the rules associated with that. 2 more things. He's really dumping it on us in this chapter, isn't he? Page 58, number 6, the conjunction ve. Conjunction ve is pretty simple. It means and. It doesn't occur on its own. Okay, and it just occurs appended before the word. Before most consonants, 6a, you just get ve on the front of a word. Davar, a word. The davar, and a word. Eved, a servant. The eved, and a servant. Ha-eved, the servant. The ha-eved, and the servant. However, before certain consonants called labials, okay, you can remember the labials by the acronym BUMAF. Okay, BUMAF. These labials are consonants that are pronounced up by your lips. BUMAF. You get, instead of ve, it is u. So bayit, a house, uvayit, and a house. Melek, a king, umelek, and a king. Petach, a door, ufetach, and a door. Got it? If the word starts with a shavah, though, you also do u. So ve and u are really the forms here. Most often it's ve, but in some circumstances it's going to be u. Words don't typically start with a vav, so when you see a vav at the beginning of a word, it's very, 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 very likely that that word begins with the word that is the conjunction the or and. Okay. If you put it before a word, and all these rules, 6d. If the word already begins with a composite shavah instead of just a shavah, you'll put the vet on there, but it actually takes the vowel of the composite shavah. So do you see this? Chamor, a he-ass, vechamor, I'm sorry, I said ve, that's wrong. Vahamor, and a he-ass. Emet, emeth, truth, ve'emeth, and truth. Do you see how the ve takes on that vowel? Chali, sickness, va-chali, and sickness. Okay. In the case of Elohim, a very common word, top of page 59, however, the aleph is quiescent. And you just get asere now. So this is kind of a unique case. So instead of saying the Elohim and God, it's just Velohim and God. And that first aleph doesn't mean anything in terms of the pronunciation. Loss of the strong dagesh. Oh, geez. I want you to read that and look at that, but I feel like there's just so much being piled on right now in detail. We'll talk about this as we go. I'll just zing you with this in class and so on when you're least expecting it. Number 7 on page 59. Please read that. Finally, he dumps on us our first way of really making sentences in Hebrew, which is this the simple verbalist clause. In Hebrew, you don't always have to have a verb to make a sentence. In English, that gets a little awkward. If I wanted to say I have this coffee cup in front of me, if I wanted to express some notion of putting this coffee cup on the table in English, I'm going to have to use a verb. I used it in that example, pudding. I put this on the table, put being the verb. I could, I guess, do a little caveman speak. I put cup table. Some languages do work like this for simple clauses, though, verbalist clauses, and you get this in Hebrew. You can just simply put two nouns next to each other and you get a little sentence. So for example, Adonai Melech, the Lord is king. I say Adonai there because in the Jewish reading tradition, you don't pronounce the name Yahweh. You certainly don't say Yahvah there. We'll talk about that some other time. But you don't really say Yahweh. You say Adonai, which is the word for Lord, or really literally my lords, in place of the divine name. So Adonai Melech there, bottom of page 59. You got a name there, Yahweh, just juxtaposed with a noun, king. Yahweh king. No, it's Yahweh is king. Adonai Kadosh. Yahweh is Kadosh, holy. You put a name next to an adjective, and you get a sentence. Hebrew doesn't always use... There is a verb for to be, being, is. It's the verb haya. But we don't need to use it in order to get that implied notion. Elohim Bashamayim. Elohim Bashamayim. God is in the heavens. Okay. Notice our word Shemayim there with a preposition in front of it. Be, which goes to ba, because it does. Because there's a definite article in there. Okay. In the heavens. Okay, a lot of stuff there. Please review this one as necessary. Here's the vocab for lesson 6. Lesson 6 vocab. Achar, achareh. Achar, achareh. After or behind. Achar ken means afterward. El. This is a nice preposition meaning to or toward, unto, into, to, toward, el. Be, in, with, by, among, through, as. You could start by memorizing that as in, and then you can get to other meanings. Be, in. Bain means between, and bain often comes as part of an idiom. Bain uvein. So bain something uvein means between x and y. Bain x uvein y means between x and y. And whenever he says and less frequently, just ignore that. Okay, bain la vein. I mean, we're only in lesson 6 here of 25. Seow, don't be introducing us to less frequent formulations of bain vein. Okay, next word. Ke. Ke. Like, as, about, according to. Ke. Like. Le. To. For. In regard to. With reference to. Le. Le. Lifnei. Lifnei. Before. Al panei can mean before or on the surface of. This will occur in your memorization passage for Genesis 1, if we've assigned a memorization passage for Genesis 1. Al panei, the Spirit of God, the Ruach Elohim, hovers, mirchafet, al panei tahom, over the face of the tahom, the deep. Okay, so it can mean on the surface of, al panei. Because, as you'll see down below, al means upon. Min, from, away from, out of, some of, because of, min. And min can be attached to a word by a makef, which is a dash, or it can just appear as meh at the front of a word with the n assimilated. Neged, in front of. Ad, as far as, until. Ad is going to very often be connected to the next word with a makef. All, upon, on, over, against. This one too will be attached to the word with a makef. As Seow notes, el and all are frequently confused with one another. They can indicate some sort of similar concepts, but these are separate words. El means to or toward or into. All means upon or on or against. Tachat, under, beneath, instead of. Okay, and he gives a note there. All right, those were just the prepositions. Now for nouns. Aron, 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 Ark, Ark of the Covenant, chest. Chata'at, Chata'ath, plural, Chata'oth, sin, sin or sin offering, connected to an adjective like chata, sinful. The verb chata means to sin. Chata le x means to sin against x. Okay. Chata'ath. Then on the top, page 61, we have a very important word, the divine name, the personal name of Israel's God, Adonai. And you can read the explanation here. We'll probably go over this in class if we meet together. In the Hebrew Bible, the vowels of the word Adonai, my Lord, are actually superimposed on the four consonants. So it looks like it's Yehovah or Yehvah. Did you hear that? Yehovah? That's where the word Jehovah comes from. It's a kind of mistake pronunciation. The reason that you put the vowels for Adonai, my Lord, above on the consonants for Yahweh, how it was probably pronounced in antiquity, maybe, probably, is so that you don't try to read it out loud by its letters, okay? But at some point in the history, some people of the language, some people, Christians in fact, misunderstood that and produced this hybrid fake word Jehovah based on that Yehovah vowel pointing. So Jehovah is not really a name of God. No one ever called God Jehovah. It's a mispronunciation. I think Jehovah is a beautiful word, actually. It's great. But nobody called God Jehovah, right, in the Old Testament. And then he points out, you might say, well, what if the word Adonai appears before the word Yahweh in the consonantal text? My Lord Yahweh. The text then gets actually pointed with the vowels for Elohim, Adonai Elohim. So it looks like Adonai Yehovah, something like that, okay. But you wouldn't say Adonai Adonai, you'd say Adonai Elohim instead of the divine name. And he gives some other things there, okay. Finally, Lila, 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 plural, Leiloth, meaning night, nights. Halila might mean tonight, kind of like Yom, Hayom might mean today. And then you get some proper names for David, Judah, Jerusalem, Israel, Moses, and Egypt. David, David, Yehuda, Yehuda, Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim. Notice that little tricky dual-looking ending there with all those vowels crunched in. Yerushalayim. Yisrael, Yisrael, Moshe, Moshe, and Mitzrayim, Egypt. That's the only one that doesn't sound something like its word in English. Mitzrayim, Egypt. There it is, lesson 6.